What's up, good people? So welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, my name is Tafara, and on this channel we share about opportunities in education, scholarships, and personal growth. And sometimes I share my journey as a PhD student, as a mom, as a wife, as a sister, and not one of those titles precedes one another. They have all their, equal value upon my life. So today I'm going to talk about one of the most important subjects that I've seen that we kind of overlook when talking about how can you apply for scholarships, how can you advance your education, or maybe you are planning to move abroad, and normally this process is left out. So this is the process that I want to talk about today, and probably kind of enlighten you guys, those of you who don't really know how this process goes. I'm going to be sharing my own experience so that maybe I can give the context to the issue. So the thing that we are going to talk about today is the process of either attesting your documents or legalizing your documents, be it school certificates, marriage certificates, driver's license, and more. So sometimes when you are planning to move abroad, be it with school or be it with work, sometimes there are requirements that are needed by the embassy or the institutions that you're going to. And one of the things you might hear is you might need to attest your documents, or the other one would be, you might need to legalize your documents. So this is what we are going to talk about today. And I want to note that sometimes without proper attestation or proper legalization, your documents may not be accepted in other countries. So I thought that maybe it is important that we talk about this thing and how it goes in Zimbabwe, because I see so many questions on either Facebook asking how can I do it. And I want to point out that this process is tailor-made for each institution that you want to go to, or for each country or each company that you want to go to. So the first thing that we're going to do is to define what is attestation. So attestation is a process of verifying a document to be authentic so that it is recognized in a country or in another country. And what is legalization? So legalization is the confirmation of your Zimbabwean government, the confirmation by your Zimbabwean government that a document is genuine and you can use it abroad. So these are two things that are different. So maybe your company that is employing you or your school says we want your documents attested. Sometimes you just need to go to the embassy of the country, and then they look at it, and then they look like they are genuine, so they take them. So sometimes you might be asked to attest your documents only, or sometimes you might be asked to legalize them, or sometimes you might be asked to do both. So here is a quick example. For example, you're applying for university place outside the country. I'll give an example like Austria. So most of the universities require you to have your documents legalized. So the first thing that you would do if you were like me, right? So I would have to legalize my marriage certificate. I would have to legalize my bachelor's certificate. I would have to legalize birth certificates and all of the important documents. Sometimes they require police clearance. I would have to legalize that. So firstly, I'm going to talk about the process of legalizing my bachelor's degree. So this is what you do. You contact your institution. In my case, it was Chino University. I told them that I would need to legalize my documents for the Austrian university that I'm going to. So the first thing, to avoid maybe dilly-dallying or to avoid going back and forth with the registrar department, I know that is the most stressful department that you have to deal with. Most people would really attest to the point I'm saying, whereby the registrar department of any institution or any university is the most stressful department one can go through. So to avoid the going back and forth, the first thing that you need to do is to email them the details of your bachelor's, the photocopy, or you can either go in person, but what was easy for me was to email them. So I emailed them with all the details when I graduated, and also they will not give you the letter without you giving them an address where it is supposed to be addressed to. So in this case, I told them to address it to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, because I needed to do the whole process, legalization and attestation. So they address it to that, confirming that for sure Tafara was a student here at CAT. She started a program in 2014, she finished in 2017. They list the bachelor program, they list everything. So if you don't have this letter, if you skip this part of having this letter from your institution, and you just boom go direct to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, they are going to tell you that they are not able to stamp your documents, so you need to go back to the institution. So don't skip a step. So you go to your institution, you get the letter. In your case, it might not be a university. In your case, maybe you want to legalize your O-level and A-level certificate. So what it means is you go to ZIMSEC, you apply for that letter. So once you have the letter from the institution that you you got your certificate, right? Once you have the letter, you have to book for an appointment online. I think our Ministry of Foreign Affairs actually have a very functional email. All the times I've emailed them when I want to do this process, they really respond quickly. So you email them out I would like to have an appointment so that I can legalize my documents. So they will ask you if you have certain documents. So I've talked about academic certificates. If you have a birth certificate and it is not computerized, then you would have to get the letter from the registrar from your respective district. In my case, it was Makombe, but I have an electronic birth certificate, so I did not need a letter from the registrar general for births. The same thing that I did for marriage certificate, I did not have to get that because it was electronic and it was registered. So for those things, you don't need a letter, right? But you have something written by hand. If your certificate, like your birth certificate or your marriage certificate, is not computerized, then that becomes a problem. Then they would need you to go to the births, and those offices are stressful. But when you get there, if you ask about the offices which deals with these things, they would definitely give you a letter. And then you take it to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The same thing that you would do for your police clearance. Once you get it from the police, you also need to email them. So one thing that they need, these people, they need you to be specific. You don't need to be not describing everything that you want to do. Oh, I want to legalize my birth certificate, my marriage, and all of that stuff. When I did it, it was 20 bond or 20 zig, I'm not really sure, but now I'm sure it's equivalent to $20 per document. You pay per document. And if you're doing this process and you are not on the ground, you're actually sending someone, you have to write them an affidavit that you're authorizing them to do this process on your behalf, right? So that they do it for you. So government offices are difficult to be in. The way they host us is not so forthcoming, and we all know what's behind that, and I think most of the people have experienced this. So the best thing that you can do for yourself to avoid that this process is stressful, the best thing that you can do for yourself is ensure that you have everything, you have everything with you. So once you have that, when you email them, they will give you like a date and a time where you have to go. So you just go there. I'm forgetting the address, but I will take a screenshot and put it in the video, like you will see it down there. So then when you go there, they will actually stamp the documents for you. So here is the catch. You need to read the requirements of the different institution that you want. Other institutions are okay with you taking a photocopy that is certified, and then the Ministry of Foreign Affairs stamp on the photocopy. So each time you like say, oh, my bachelor's is has been legalized, you have to provide the original and the photocopy. And then in my case, countries like Austria, they don't want that. They want the original document to be stamped. So if you make a mistake of stamping the photocopy, and the institution or the country that you're going to needs it to be done on the original, then you have to redo the process again, and it requires money, it requires time. So it's a bit stressful. So before you undertake this process, make sure, please guys, make sure that you know where it is going to be stamped. Is it the original? Is it the photocopy? And then after you do that, sometimes you would have to book like an appointment with the consular services of the country where the institution is hosted. In my case, it was Austria, so I had to call the Austrian consulate, and then after I email them, they give you an appointment, and when you go there, they stamp it. So you would find that your document would have two stamps, the one from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and then the one from the Austrian consulate. This is the process. Generally, this is the process that I did for the country that I was going to. But other countries are actually much more flexible. They don't need you to go through all the foreign affairs process and all of that. For example, Germany, when I was going to Germany, I did not need to attest anything. I just brought my photocopies and my originals, and when you see the consular, like when you're applying for the visa, they'll just look at your documents, and I don't know the other verifications that they do in the background, but once they do that, once the embassy actually accepts your documents, that means the institution or the university that you're going to in Germany did not need you to legalize. So I want to point out one thing, that this legalization thing can be very stressful, especially, you know how the registrar departments in the institutions are like difficult to navigate, if I am to say it. So what do you do? That means it goes back to the being proactive and being a good planner, which I've been talking as the year starts. What it means is that before you even start applying or start going through things, please, I would encourage you to really go on the different websites of the institutions or the companies that you want to work for, be it remote or be it physically. If they are outside of Zimbabwe, go through the website, read through them extensively. Muchishona ndirukwedza kuti penengura the website and get the information that you need, like go through it. That way you will know if they need it or if they don't, because this whole process, it involves different departments. I don't think you need to do it whilst you're rushing. Now you have to go to CAT, get the letter. After you're done with the letter, you have to ask the consular. And sometimes, like for countries that don't have consular services in Zimbabwe, it means you have to travel to South Africa or to Botswana or to Zambia, and that also requires time. Or sometimes they ask you to post the documents. That also requires time. So this is a process that you don't really need to do like when you're really under pressure, and when you're really like at the verge of or when you're really approaching the time that you need to submit your applications. So I thought that maybe if we could talk about this process, because I have seen that people I've seen that people normally ask this question, how do I do it? So the process is similar as I have said it. What you need to know is which institution am I approaching depending on the documents that you have, right? And one thing that I had forgotten, if you're going to be legalizing a police clearance, some of them need to be notarized by a registered lawyer or the notary public before attestation. So for police clearances, that much I know, you have to have your, like, it doesn't have to be done by the Commissioner of Odds or anyone in there, those people who do it for us very efficiently. So it has to be notarized by a lawyer. And I remember my lawyer friend kind of link me up with someone who could do it for me, and I think I paid $10 or so. That is also one thing that you need to note down. So as you have seen, there are different fees that are there in the legalization or the attestation or the notarization of documents, right? So it needs you to plan early and ensure that you put these things in your budgeting, so that you ensure that you have the money to do the things. So even if you're planning to move to Dubai, I know there is a process that teachers do when they are moving to Dubai. They also go through this very same process where they have to visit the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Trade with their original, documents. And then I want to highlight the common mistakes to avoid. As I have said, this process is very big, and which is submitting photocopies instead of originals. This is tailor-made depending on the country that you're going to. Ensure that your stamp is on the right document. If they want it on a photocopy, do it on a photocopy. If they want it on an original, do it on an original. And then you also need to check country-specific requirements. As I have said, I am giving you this example based on my experience and not based on what other countries require. So please research on the country specific requirements. And as I have said again before, do not wait until last minute, because this process takes time as there are different offices involved. And also don't forget to bring an identification when visiting these offices. If you're going to do it for your relative, ensure that they've already written an affidavit. It has been stamped, it has been signed with the Commissioner of Odds. That makes you not lose time. Like, you spend time waiting in the offices, and then when you go back, when it's time for you to be served, you're asked you need an affidavit. This process can be stressful, so let's plan properly. So I would like to do a recap of the key points. Attestation and legalization of documents is crucial when moving abroad for work, study, or residence. And I would also like to encourage you that if you find this video helpful, please share it, drop a comment, and if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I'll be there to answer. So yeah, I hope this video has actually educated you on a process that is very critical when doing our processes for applying for study, work, or residency. So I want to thank you for engaging with me.